So I have two videos on my YouTube channel related to Professor NIKOLA TESLIC, who illegally fired me in 2007. So in 2007 and 2008 there was a financial crisis. So in the middle of financial crisis he fired me. He asked me, which I'm going to show in email, describe in more details in email I sent him. So he asked me to leave the company, to have sort of mutual agreement that three people ask him to tell me that they cannot work with me anymore and so on and so on. I agreed, but what was the silent part of that agreement is that he will not intervene, because he did that, or some other people from the board of that company. There were actually two companies. One was MicronasNIT, which stands for Novi Sad Institute of Technology, and the second one was RTRK. Now he has two more companies, or maybe even three. Actually, one is TTTech, Austrian company, both RTRK, but he has now OBLO, IoT, Internet of Things, focused based company. So second video is just a phone call about emails, and the first video is about G drive folder TESLIC with related documentation and screenshots of emails I sent him in May 2021, 2 emails. So this video contains, as the name says, the links to G drive. Now I'm going to TESLIC folder. So in that first video I explained what are these pictures. These are documents, list of projects, and this is the these are two emails, screenshots of two emails I sent TESLIC in May 2021. So this is public. I'm going to show only first page of this first email. So this is RTRK. Micronas didn't exist at that time, MicronasNIT, NIT. And this is end of first email and beginning of second email. I'll just second is the email is just warning for NIKOLA TESLIC not to try any dirty tricks. And in this video I will just translate this first email. So these 8 pictures. Now a bit about NIKOLA TESLIC, Professor NIKOLA TESLIC. That's him. This is his LinkedIn page. This is announcement from 2015, RTRK, about TTTech buying RTRK, computer-based systems, blah blah blah. Research gate of NIKOLA TESLIC, University of Novi Sad page, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So I don't need this anymore. So this is his LinkedIn page. Of course, for full profile I need to sign in. I don't have LinkedIn page, but I will need to open it soon. This is important. So TTTech is proud to announce that we have raised 250 million euros in our latest funding round from Aptiv and ODAG. So they are doing it big time. This is the guy who George Kopets, CEO, and Nikola Teslic just shared this. So they're working with some major players in the industry, and I asked Nikola Teslic in that email from May 2021 to pay damages for problems he caused. I can also close this, and he says here that he is also director of OBLO Living, a company focusing on IoT, Internet of Things, end-to-end IoT. So he has money, but he's ignoring me. And the main problem, actually there were two problems. First problem was that he and other previous CEO, they lied about my PhD. I finished my PhD, but they wouldn't let me apply file application because they said I need to do something else. Lost one or two more years because what I did was a major project. It was a special purpose architecture processor, DA simulator, and the prototype of the actual product. Only prototype was worth 1 million euros at that time. This was something around 2005, but the project was cancelled not because of me but because of, so that project was Mikronas Freiburg, Germany project. Mikronas still exists, I think. So Freiburg, this is TTTech, this is there, so it says Freiburg, Breisgau, Hans Bunterstraße, and so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. So this was the first problem with my PhD. I tried to find the mentor in some other fields, but they intervened and nobody wanted to be my mentor. This is first thing. The second thing, I don't know if I already mentioned that because I'm trying to create this video. This is third time because I'm always doing something wrong, adding some information I should omit. So the problem was that when Nikola Teslic said I should leave the company, it was the silent part of that agreement that he will not intervene with other local companies about my employment. He did exactly that, which is monstrous. I expected that because he did that for some other people who would not play with by his rules. So I explained everything in that email that I'm about to translate, which is by the way here. So this is first, this is second thing, and third thing, he knows, I think I mentioned, and if I haven't, I'm mentioning it now. So I have two types of cancer. One of them is caused by a Russian doctor, and YouTube, controlled by federal government, is hiding that. So YouTube, US federal government directly protects Russian federal government. So I first have a lymphoma. This is the proof, and I have a very rare eye cancer caused by a Russian doctor. This is proof that I have cancer. This is about Russian doctor, and this is about YouTube, controlled directly by US federal government, directly protects Russian embassy by blocking search on videos on my on my channel. And there is another YouTube directly by real-time blocking views for eye cancer. I have, so I think that would be enough regarding cancer. Fortunately, I know how to cure it, but I need money, of course. They're trying to starve me by every possible way. When I say they, I mean Serbian quoted military intelligence, because I reported military for illegal arms trade. I proved that the United States federal government is behind that. You just type DOJ and everything will be crystal clear. Or this email or this video also explains it, and so on and so on and so on. Or you just type arms, as in illegal arms trades, a lot of videos, military, blah 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 blah, and this is a very important video regarding illegal arms trade, and so on and so on. I'm acting as supreme prosecutor, etc etc etc. Let me see, this is important video in that context, and this one as well. Okay, so that was regarding my credibility, not just as an engineer, but as now prosecutor, not to mention monstrous murders of 3 members of my family, and in that context I need to mention this one. Okay, so let's see if I forgot to mention something regarding that firing. I also contacted my mentor, who was at that time at the board of that company, and I asked him explicitly not to tell other people not to intervene and prevent local companies to hire me. Of course, they did exactly that, which will be explained in this. Actually, I won't close this. Which will be explained as I translate this. So, for NIKOLA TESLIC, warning prior to international lawsuit. Dear NIKOLA TESLIC, please suggest damages which you are about to pay me within 24 hours after receiving this email. So damages 4. Oops. Illegal firing. A few days before the dismissal, before firing and the arrival of the inspection, so inspection from Ministry of Labor. You made me sign a contract, so all these documents are in the root of folder G drive folder TESLIC from several parties, which I should have signed in 2005. 2.5 years difference. I recognize it, although it says 2005 because Sasha asked me to put my initials, MD in Latin. Sasha was just a guy helping secretary. I don't even remember his surname. And I checked in the social security that you had taken me up to that time as a part-time employee and paid me the lowest contribution. That's what I was told in the social security. I don't claim that it's correct. Again, documents of that are in a root of G drive TESLIC folder. When you called me to tell me to look for another job, this is important. You said that Goran Milkovic, Milo Davidovic and Zed asked for it and that they could no longer work with me. I did not. I need really to read this in order to fix if something is wrong with the translation. I hope I'm not, it's not annoying. I did not ask Milkovic and David for Davidovich, but Zed told me that it was not true. He didn't say that, and I believe him. So this guy, when I sent this email, I saw him, I think, the same day, and he was terrified, like someone is about to kill him. So it looked as if he was about to start crying. He was that scared. So he was, as will be seen in this translation, he was brutally harassing me for no real reason, and I was not guilty for it was not my fault, because major project for Samsung, digital television project for Samsung, failed because of this guy and other so-called engineers. I wanted to go to Korea, but they wouldn't let me do it, because after I fixed a lot of other problems which will be explained here. I would definitely fix that. So they lost a huge amount of money because they trust this guy Goran Milkovic. At that time he was in emotional relationship with director, CEO's daughter. So they lost a lot of money, and I could prevent this. But anyways, so next up, so as you can see from documents of G Drive, you cannot know whether I recorded the conversation with you when you told me to look for another job or not, because I hid certain evidence for prosecutors, courts, and the police just to lead them to commit crime acts. I can do the same now with you, and the fact that I have been waiting all this time for the right moment should be enough proof for you of how determined I am in everything. Of course, this applies in case you claim that I left alone, although I do not believe that witnesses should lie in such a situation and appear on the front pages of domestic and foreign newspapers in such a negative context. So I'm referring here to people who knew that he fired me. There are a lot of people. But again, this was mutual agreement which he broke, and other people from the board knew about that, of course. So those people knew that you fired me, my colleagues, and how you lived and how you harassed me before that. You deliberately put me at the end of the office where there were no people from the same project, Teslic, or did not. Okay. Teslic or not, you allowed Milkovic to harass me and humiliate me without any reason, because he's not. He could not do that without your permission. This is insane. Okay, so that was the part. That was the almost last part before explaining what problems I solved that nobody could solve. As for contributions, so health insurance and stuff like that, it is incompressible, and of course pension. It is incompressible that you are doing this to someone. You did this to someone who solved problems that no one else could solve. Just to remind you. I need to check out what's happening with my install. So I described here in details what problems I solved that no other people could solve, and these other people are not just people from Serbia's office of Mikonas, but also people from Germany. So Germany's offices, main offices, on I think multiple projects, different projects. When I say different projects, I mean not just digital signal processing, but also digital television. So I will explain that in a minute. So this is the first. Let me see how many. Okay, this is the last one. This is not important, and so on and so on. A lot of other things. Okay, some more details. Okay, this would take some time. Okay, so next up, I think that I could do this at once. Yeah. So I solved the problem we did with the MP3 decoder with which the team consisting of MG, GM and others struggled and was delayed for has delayed for more than 2 months. I didn't solve it directly, but Markovic solved it within an hour or two, since he saw how it should be debugged. He saw what I was doing, because he knew where to look for the problem. Then you said we were moving on and that everything was fine, and if I had been late it would have been a disaster. The application for special purposes, not needs but purposes, which was one of several from that class, was the most complex, 7 times more demanding to process than the other applications from that class of applications. So it was the only one that could not be executed in C++. So C++ is one of the fastest languages. So executables are one of the fastest of all programming languages. And since I manually optimized it, it was about 32 MIPS, millions of instructions per second. So manually optimized it. Now transport stream. I don't know if... Wow, this is very important actually, very interesting. This part, I don't know if this will fit. Yeah. Transport stream is the most important module of DTV, digital television application, for one of the most successful companies, Samsung. I can now say is Samsung in the field, in the industry. I was the only one who implemented multi-threading, but for some reason I was not allowed to put the name of that foreign company in my resume. So please refer to the law that allows you to do so, because my work biography, because my bio in that part sounds like a fairy tale. I could have solved the problem that led to the cancellation of the DTV project for Samsung, but you didn't ask me whether I should travel abroad, and you didn't want to listen to me because you trusted Milkovic and the team. The same thing happened with the APX. This is another major project, should have been part of the TV audio part, especially when you sent Bandage. Okay, I shouldn't mention this, but anyway, instead of me, because his father is friends with some of you. I really cannot create another video, but this is very interesting about this guy. So as soon as he, Bandage, sat down at the table, someone from Germans came and realized that he had no idea about about the whole thing. So that guy didn't work on project at all, but they want him to go to Germany just to brag to his friends that he was there. I warned him not to do so because I saw that he doesn't know basic things about the project. He was working on something completely different. I should have teach him everything in I don't know, like one day, which is impossible. So after which he called you and asked you to save him because they literally wanted to tear him apart. They, meaning Germans, at Mykonos. In the end, instead of leaving and packing, he went to the canteen to eat, but one of the German's bosses appeared and just asked him if he knew that someone had paid for what he was eating, turned and left. You remember that, don't you? This is very interesting. I mean, you can create I don't know, like drama from it. Of course, I'm not the only one who experienced that. There were a lot of other people, but they will now need to pay for this. They will need to pay me good money for what they did, or they will suffer major consequences. They lost even more money. I think that should be enough. Next one, the state machine in Eclipse. Eclipse is IBM, I think, ID, Integrated Development Environment. Eclipse, IBM, IDE. Yeah, that's it. Nice. Which served as the basis for the simulator for Cyrus Logic. This is wrong. It should be SIRRU. Actually, I can try it. I can. One of the major company in US, I think. American. Yeah. And DSP. So DSP was my tools for DSP was my master thesis, my field, and of course something that I forgot to mention, very very important, is my CV, and also there is a folder in Final 2 G drive, folder named CV, with everything, with all the documents related to my CV. So Eclipse, State Machine, State Automata, I think that was the exact name in Eclipse, which served as the basis for the simulator for Cyrus Logic, and on which professors Kukul and Popovic worked unsuccessfully, so regular or full professors, for almost 2 months, and they did not manage to do anything until I learned from Radovan that Miroslav Živković was working on it and gave him everything on a plate. As far as I remember, he received a higher salary for that project, but I'm interested in whether he mentioned that I gave him the project. The project was supposed to be explained in a book about Eclipse, which was delayed for some reason, and since it was a new technology, relatively speaking, there was nothing online about it. So I spent around 7 days to well, actually 5 days, 5 working days to fix this. It was the main problem was to load the application after that. Actually, there was a bit tricky to use it, but loading it was the major deal. So I did what 2 professors could not do. And second part. Yeah, there was another student from Živkovic's team was trying to do something with Eclipse. He had some Tarzan haircut. If I remember, yeah, that's the guy. But without success, some colleagues told me about the wrong slide in the presentation. Yeah, that was a major deal. So there was a wrong slide in presentation for Cyrus Logic where the prices for the where the prices that Cyrus Logic paid them. Again, it's SIRRUS, not this. So they showed prices by mistake, that how many they charged Cyrus Logic for the projects, part of the projects, and it was a lot of money, huge amount of money. So I know what the amounts are. Not to mention that you once took days from my annual salary. Not salary. He didn't let me use my whole all the days from my vacation. Although I mostly worked on 2 projects, which is true, with students, and sometimes I was teaching students, and sometimes 15 hours a day. But the problem is that I didn't snitch and cheat. That's true. That's true, that's true, that's true. Next up. I sent this to one newspaper in Novi Sad. They asked me about that, but at the time I think it was 2021. At the time I could not do it, but I will send it now. They will be really interested because they were really into this story. There were a lot of scandals regarding not this company but other companies. One of them will be mentioned in the text that follows from this email. So next up, problem with different execution of 2 same programs on 2 same platforms. Configuration to see solved for appear with speech recognition. Marco J had a problem and named the project. I cannot believe it. In compiler project, not a project but compiler project, led by Z with Radovan and Živković, on which I did not work. So I solved problem, this same problem in 2 projects that nobody could solve. By the way, that guy Marco J is PhD for some time, quite some time. Another one. So what the hell? Yeah, this was the major deal. Major project failed because of this. So that was new architecture for DSP. Hundreds of engineers worked on that. I could solve it. I warned them that this will happen, and it happened, and they lost a huge amount of money. So the problem with, of course, for everything I stated here, I can go on polygraph anytime. So the problem with the time diagrams for APX, it's APX without this L and I. So this should have been newer DSP architecture because they did not exist on the FPGA, field programmable grid area. I think that's field programmable gate. Okay, I was close. I was working with that as well, which can be seen in my CV folder in G drive. In Final 2 folder, on which Zoli, the guy, one of my colleagues, worked, and what I warned you about several times, but you ignored me. So that in the end, evening before leaving on my vacation, I had to stay all night to solve the problem. but there were some other problems related to that, so project was cancelled. Major project, so another major project. A similar problem led to the cancellation of the mentioned project, and if you had let me go to Germany, that would not have happened. What would the Germans and Asians say to all this if they found out? They will find out. They will find out. Okay, I will put this to at once. So the problem with changing the SDL structure definition language, as far as I remember, in COSI system for compiler, COSI system. Yeah, ACE. Yeah. So that COSI compiler system tool was worth around $500,000. So $500,000. And I was using that tool for my master thesis. Wow. Which of course you can see in that folder. Okay, I need to open that folder. It would be fair to do it. Actually, it would not be fair if I don't do it. So, CV, here it is. So this is company from Slovenia I worked for, and that was okay, I know, forgot the name of the project. Yeah, net file storage, NetFS. It's a standalone application. So combination of for instance, Windows Explorer and uploader and downloader. So that was one project. Another project was for Ion Flux from San Francisco, biomedicine. And this is my CV, Word document, PDF, I think this PDF document, list of projects signed by my mentor. This is my master thesis in document format. This is PDF. This is from some let me see how can I translate? Society for Electronics, where I published some papers. They confirmed some papers, officially confirmed papers that I published. So of course this is the most important part, detailed, my detailed what is this? Detailed CV with all the projects, tools I used, part of the team or not. So it is in the context, so I needed to show it. Okay, I don't need this anymore. Okay, so I stopped at the SDL. So SDL was special purpose language of that COSI system. COSI, not GOAT, but COSI compiler tool. No one managed to solve it except me, and not even one of the best students at the time. Some conceited guy, Oscar. Yeah, Oscar Polinko. If I remember correct. I really want to know if this guy is where he is. Wow. I don't know this. If that's, I don't know if that's the guy. It was a long time since I saw him. I cannot open this. Anyways, doesn't matter. So that best student, gifted student could not solve it. I was the only one who could solve this. The problem was that it was extremely hard to extend the language. If you wanted to add some user implemented operation structures and so on, functionality, whatever. So my group of students at TMD, that was building where I was teaching students, passed everything in one class. Only one student remained who was not present. The other groups, led by Istvan and his team, hung out with the students for another 2 or 3 months. So I was really successfully teaching students as well. I really had hard times when they needed to pay me for that. So they tried to rob me by every possible way. I would also mention an event when Simeon provoked me to show my middle finger to the robot. So robot was connected with people from Germany, some from the board, very important people, and he was the only one who reported me because Istvan, Kraja, so these are my colleagues, were my colleagues at the time, and the others were also there, but he, like a good guy, did it. The other guys didn't do it. When you ask me why I did it, I ask you what about those colleagues who during working hours play porn movies for female colleagues or put sadomasochistic videos online, after which you moved on to another topic. So that was a good call, definitely, for me. So a lot of things. I'm sure that journalists from that Novi Sad newspapers will be very interested in this. What the hell? Okay. As soon as he finished his doctorate, Simeon left the company, and what's worse, his master's degree was a fraud because he didn't have any results. Optimization didn't work. He still inserted instructions instead of throwing them out. Then he somehow published the paper through the girlfriend from mathematics on some forum in Subotica and received his doctorate, PhD. How responsible he was, and he received a constant increase in salary without grounds. It is enough to cite the case when all of you bosses went abroad. This happened only one day after I started working in the company, as far as I remember. Okay, I don't remember that now because a lot of things went through my head. And Simon spent the whole day in the room with the support workers. That's true. I'm not saying who Simon is. I won't say who Simon is, of course, my colleague, but I won't say his name and surname. That's nickname. For a while there was also a guy from Montenegro who was sitting next to me. I don't remember his last name. He literally did nothing all the day. Of course, he came much earlier than everyone else, so that what he was doing was not visible. Okay, and he earned a nice salary. I think that he sent you an allegedly compromising video of him peeling an me peeling orange, which was recorded by Elder Janko Živković with his camera, and maybe you use that as a I don't know if this is trump card if I sue you for dismissal for firing, but you can't anymore because of everything that happened to me. Yeah, that's true. Okay, I won't explain what this is until time comes, if time comes. So I have to mention one more controversial episode, and it has to do with your conflict with with my colleague. That's what the younger Živković told me after we were friends. Because we were friends, several months or maybe a year has passed since I was fired. I told him it was the first time I had heard that. So it was about conflict with one colleague because his then at that time girlfriend, she's now his wife, she needed to travel abroad, and he didn't like that fact, and he had major conflict with the board of the directors, board of the company. So my friend Živković told me about that after I was fired, like a year or something. And I told him that was the first time I heard that, which was true, and he wondered how I could not have noticed it, because it was in the same office. The answer was very simple, because I was working at work. I was working at my office, and I wasn't looking at who was with whom, who is doing something, you know what, with someone. I'm sure that who is doing you know what with someone else, and that someone, you know what, is of course sex. I'm sure that this is more than enough for you to understand how you and the others were harassing me. Okay, so this doesn't really make sense. This last sentence, if you really don't know the whole story, because I omitted some parts, of course, because it would be a huge email. Imagine what will happen if all this goes public, and now it's going public, and as you will see from the documents of G drive, I became a witness to international organized crime on 2 counts. I had 3 family members monstrously murdered. Something was injected into my eye. Yeah, so I mentioned that. So I got 4 melanoma of the eye, one of the most serious forms of cancer today. There is no evidence that anyone has been cured, and in the end I was threatened by the army major, military police major in Novi Sad. So I mentioned about the cancer. This is actually probably the most important part. What is particularly strange is that, so this is the part about their interference, interfering with other convincing other company not to harm me. So what is particularly strange is that no company wanted to hire me, and now Prozone employed Nota, my colleague, and I worked in far more areas than him, everything except robots, which was done in the company. So, of course, I will sue all these companies, Prozone. Novi Sad. I will sue them because they, this is important, I don't know if I haven't mentioned that in this. So all these companies, I missed Elsys from Belgrade. Elsys should be here as well, they are now in Novi Sad. Yeah, that's them. They also didn't hire me. So most of these companies refused to hire me, and I was working in their field. Then Levi 9 hired Baus for the same position. The guy who was working on way less project. I mean, he was student when I was working. He was in my office when I was working several years. I was working several years before he came into office. DMS, they are now called, yeah, but I first need to show Levi 9. Here they are, Levi 9 Novi Sad, and finally DMS. They are now Schneider Electric. Before that they were DMS, Telvent DMS. Yeah, I don't know if they still exist. And with Telvent Sweden, yeah. Yeah, closed. Yeah. So especially this Telvent DMS story is very interesting. So as can be seen here, DMS employed almost everyone from your company, RTRK. I mean, they employed some students. They didn't want to employ me. Everything wouldn't be so strange if I didn't have a master's degree in one of the most complex fields, program translator, program compilers for DSP digital signal processors with an open flow, open pipeline structure, and work at the lowest level assembly language, implemented a processor in Xilinx, KEIL. So these are, I think, also compilers. I was working on the I think that's the one. I was working on, I use this for a microcontroller, also for DTV. So everything is there. I'm not telling some fairy tales. Which is always and will always be in demand. This is not needed. This is also important. However, when I started working over internet, in a short time I was hired permanently by a company from Slovenia, and when the project was terminated after 2 years, a week or two later I moved to another project, even more complex, I mean way more complex. I did not, even though I did not meet the basic requirements, San Francisco location, Bay Area, and on that project for the Biomedical Institute, I did electrophysiology, one of the most popular fields of biomedicine today. I stayed from the mentioned okay, this is not needed. I was on the project for 6 years. And in the end, the director, as a recognized scientist from that field, offered me recommendations twice, which is always something that you ask for, at least in US. So he offered me that twice, which can be seen from that ion flux G drive folder from our email exchange. It's in English, of course. If you had to hold that in the middle of 2010, Professor Kovacic told me to go talk to Professor Popic about the job at DMS and similar. When I went to see Professor Kovacic for an interview to ask if I owed anything, so no one will be my mentor for my doctorate, neither in... this is something about, this is translated incorrectly, but I explained that already. So no one wanted to be my mentor both in Belgrade and Novi Sad, and no one will hire me. So I asked director at that time, Professor Kovacic, if I own them something. Professor Popic pretended not to know what it was about. He called Professor Kovacic. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. It wasn't. They were playing with me. So they wanted to look if they want to hire me, but that was just a joke, and it turned out to be a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, but pure harassment, which also applies to other companies that called me even though they had already planned. Yeah, I mentioned that actually. Not to hire me, but they had to harass me a little bit. This is wrong, should be harass. They will therefore pay me compensation as well as you. So at that time they had power, but now I have the power, and they will pay for everything they did to me. It's just that they are not aware of that, I guess. So, when all of the above is taken into account, one comes to the conclusion that only those, I don't know if I can call them people, who have serious psychological problems can harass someone like this. This is wrong, should be harass. And this is also wrong. Second thing that I ask for damaging, compensation for damaging my reputation by firing me without grounds, as well as possibly intervening so that no one hires me and takes me as PhD candidate. Mental pain should be psychic pain, which was caused in the process. Material damage which you caused by firing me, and intervening that nobody. So I lost around 10,000 euros while nobody wanted to hire me. Pension fund and health insurance, which you did not pay me adequately for 5 years. So I asked him to pay me now up to the amount you paid me the last 2 months. Yeah, they paid me proper amount last 2 months. I had the amount that corresponds to my salary as a freelancer. Again, if what I was told in social or whatever it's called is correct. Or wherever it is called, so institution on Žitni Trg in Novi Sad. So the details, this is I think my final 2 folder. This is some warning, but actually I will need to, okay, I need this, and I need this as well. So this should be final 2. come on, yep, it is. This is the video which I already have, but I need to show it for the record, which I already have in my YouTube account. This one, so 1:44:55, and this is the 1:44. So that's the I don't know why I put it on G drive. Maybe because I was expected that some things might change in the video. Okay, so that's it. I will not. Everyone has the address, so everyone can access it. So this is folder. There should be folder Teslic. What the hell is that? Yeah, it is. And action. My Twitter account. So, where is this? My Twitter account, where it can be seen from tweets from 2019 that Interpol is also involved, and that has insulted Secretary General of Interpol. Still no one is allowed to touch those tweets, and I almost attacked Tanya Wojciechowski, one of the top journalists in Serbia, several times, but she didn't have the guts to answer, and neither did the others who read the tweets. All these were all tweets about pandemia, which is blocked in the shortest possible time. The president of Brazil was almost blocked for much more harmless tweets about pandemic, but Twitter must not do that. Decide for yourself why. So my Twitter account. This is my YouTube. About monstrous murders of three members of my family. There is also a message to the Sveti Antonella Riha. I just created video about that piece of shit. Liptard, moron. Let me see where that should be. Here. These are messages I sent her. Here. They can be seen in this video. Of course, they are in Serbian. Where is it? Wow. Okay. After which she informed all the NGOs which are supported by foreign embassies, governments, according to the analysis, it was seen that there are about 30 of them. They read all the tweets in a very short time, but they were not allowed to react. They didn't have the guts to react. This is wrong. Those messages are DMs, so they're not seen in Twitter. So DMs, direct messages, but I'll put them up soon. I still haven't done that. I will do it. There are several tweets about Satanist Nikola Tesla. Tesla. Voila. This and this is important. Of course, these others are also important, but this one and this one are very important. So Nikola Tesla, which no one was allowed to comment, no one has the guts to comment on. They were read by a large number of people based on analytics, Twitter analytics, while, for example, Duci Simonovic, one of the popular intellectuals in Serbia, he was attacked for a much more harmless criticism about Nikola Tesla. There are also tweets about Vatican pedophiles video, but no one is allowed, no one has the guts to touch that either. Again, decide for yourself why. So my YouTube channel. If you have some questions, please contact me by email, SMS or Viber. My number. Do not call me by phone because I will report you for harassment. This is also important. Please note that after the call from the FBI in the directory, after calling FBI, this is incorrectly translated, in the directory of the Supreme Court of Justice, I officially became a witness to international organized crime, and how serious the situation is you can conclude from the fact that even the army threatened me, a major from the military police in Novi Sad, and that was ordered by General Staff of Serbia. They denied everything under the pretext that there were an error in communication, which was not. I don't know why. There should not be closed here. Parenthesis anyway. Which was not happening in the history of the existence of army in general, so army does not interfere with private cases. But of course I didn't take into account that this might have been about my report on illegal arms trade. Gendarmerie, so special unit of police were also harassing me. Allegedly they come across me when I was passing the street. They once stopped me because I was wearing an athlete's shirt at -5 degrees, as if they hadn't heard that MMA fighters do this regularly. And the police also harassed me, and intelligence services, but it suddenly stopped when I called the FBI. True, that is, if you harass me in any way as they did, and for which they will be held accountable under international law or laws, it will be considered obstruction of international justice. Because I'm still working on my FBI report, they wanted to talk to me when I called them, but I said I was working on the report, and I'm sure you know what the consequences are for such crimes. In the meantime, FBI ignored me when here it is. So let's see what's the date here. So when FBI ignores you, it means that real mafia is involved in the case, so-called elite. So yeah, this is June, I don't know, like 40 days after this email. Okay, wow, this is the end. Cool, this is nice. Well, it was a nice ride for 41. Also, if you don't answer me as soon as possible and pay compensation, if I agree to the same, it will also be considered obstruction of international justice. I'm still working on my application to my crime report for FBI, because I almost spent my savings, which I was saving for my doctorate, PhD, and the previous one, which I spent from and previous savings which I spent from 2008 to 2009, I spent because of your actions, because you fired me. I asked the Ministry of Finance to pay me compensation since I was working for the Republic, because since I was working job of top highest instance prosecutor in Serbia, and I'm still working. That's true. I have now 51 cases, 51 case of international organized crime related to Serbia, or 51 cases, and I'm still working. I don't expect them to pay anything because the goal is actually for okay, this is something not really important. I mentioned this guy in one of the videos because he brutally beat and struggled his wife. Real moron. His real name is Klein. He's Jewish. He's Minister of Finance, famous for faking his PhD. Real piece of shit. So to be involved in international crime, this is not important, because so far he has only been accused of some thefts of state property. So please confirm this email and that you can access directories on G Drive. This is for Goran Milkovic, who supposedly asked Teslic to fire me. Please propose me within 24 hours of receiving this email compensation for harassing me while I work in your team on the digital television project. If it's true, then you if it's true that you asked Teslic to fire me, please include that in the compensation. The part of this email intended for Teslic text above has parts that apply to you as well. I'm sure you won't have a problem recognizing it. Now, for other guy, Mile Davidovic, who also asked Teslic to fire me, allegedly. Please propose compensation within 24 hours of receiving this email. If it's true that you, in addition to Milkovic, asked Teslic to fire me, the part of this email intended for Teslic text above has parts that refer to you as well. I'm sure you won't have a problem recognizing them. And what I need to mention about this guy, by the way, he's communist, because his close family are communists. He said that, I think, right before I was fired. We had an argument. So I will create separate videos on them if they don't answer, because I'm not sure if this email was sent to them. It appeared that it looked as if it was sent to Goran Milkovic, because, as I said, I saw him that or other day on the street and he was almost crying. This is how scared he was. He was terrified. And this guy Mile Davidovic, while I was a student, he was in charge of internet, dealing with internet server, and he was blocking my internet connection, and I was working on project related to mathematic library in assembly language, so lowest language, lowest human readable language, at the lowest, that's the lowest programming language that you can have. After that you have zeros and ones. So he was, I clearly remember, I was a student at that time, internet was a luxury, and I was in that TMD building that I mentioned in the beginning. I think that building doesn't exist anymore in Novi Sad, and he was blocking my internet connection. So the guy has some major problems. Okay, so that was everything related to Nikola Tesla, and I'm going to send this to first to Austrian ambassador. Now I will now miss the window because it's almost 5 p.m. and they are working. Their working hours are closed. Actually 4 a.m. I didn't know that. It was 9 to 5. Yeah, 4 to 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. It's actually to 4. So I missed the window. Anyways, I mean they're always that's the nature of their job to always check out emails even during the weekends. So I'm sure that won't be a problem at all. Not just for them because I'm preparing. Actually, I prepared other videos for other ambassadors related to banks, to compensation for my great grandfather who died in First World War, and so on and so on. And I think this is not the last one, because I have one more video left before I contact, before I write email to ambassadors, multiple ambassadors. So there's only one mail left related to illegal contract, related to contract of illegally selling my property, and within that contract, within that video on that contract, there will be information on bank, on Hungarian bank OTP. I mentioned that bank in several of my videos in my channel. So contacting, these videos are in this playlist. So that would be all regarding NIKOLA TESLIC. I might create some other videos depending on what's happening. I might contact some other people that will that could cause major serious damage, serious material damages, material losses to NIKOLA TESLIC and his companies. So he has at least 2 companies. Actually, he has 1 company, and in the other company he's at the board of, obviously. So, and he refuses to. He ignored me, although I have 2 types of cancer. And as I just showed, I notified him about that first cancer, and I know that even if he didn't receive this email, I asked one of my colleagues, he's mentioned here, but not with full name. I asked one of my colleagues to tell TESLIC about everything that I stated here, most of the things that I stated here. So I'm sure he did that because they work in the same company. Actually, I think that TESLIC is involved in 3 companies. Either he has shares or he owns them. There is another 3rd company. I cannot remember what's the name. But anyways, so he has a lot of money and he refuses to pay me, although I have 2 types of cancer. So based on that and everything I wrote here, again, I can go on polygraph, if this is correct term, anytime to be questioned about everything I wrote here. Nothing is everything is true. I didn't fake a thing, and as you can see, I was working on high profile projects, not some rubbish, some websites and similar. So it was a major deal, and it still is.